and today we're going to learn how to save a profile image to the Firebase storage service, which is one of the because Firebase has authentication, database, and then it has storage, and it allows us to, as the name says, store files that we want. So we'll learn how to do this. This obviously can be interchanged to a number of things. It doesn't have to be profile images, but we'll be focusing on that. So first of all, we can go into our Android project, and this is where we left off last lesson. And wait, let me just explain you a thing here. We'll be creating another child inside here, which will point us to the profile image URL, because that's what Firebase creates. It creates an URL for the profile, for the image that you put inside the storage, which is in here. And I believe I have already some things here, okay, but I'm going to actually I'm going to delete this, and then after I'll show you it working in real time. So let's get right into it. And as I've said, this is where we left off in the previous lesson, and we'll be needing for what we are trying to do some libraries. And to do this, we're going to build Gradle, and we are going to add them inside here. So the first one that we need, we can just copy and paste the Firebase one, and it is called storage. Okay, and the second one, it's glide, which I have already put in here, and you can do it yourself. Now glide is it's a library that allows you to put images in the form of URL into an image view, for example. So I can go into Google and I can show you in a second. Let's go into GitHub, because that's where it is. Glide, okay. And the name that they give it is, where it is, an image loading and caching library for Android focused on smooth scrolling. And it is a really good library. You can check it out yourself. These guys did an impeccable job. So as you can see from here, you can load an URL directly into an image view, and that's what we want to do, because from the storage, in the storage we'll get an URL which will save inside here, and then we can load that URL directly into an image view, which makes the process really simple. It may sound complicated, but it will get easier with time. I'll show you. When you see the code yourself, you'll understand just what I mean with all of this. So let's just let the Gradle finish loading and running wherever they're doing. But in the meantime, I think we can move on. So we'll add an image view inside here. Oops, it may break a bit because of the Gradle running. And let's say a width of 100 SP and a height of 100 SP as well. Then let's give it an ID profile image, and the source, which I've loaded previously, so you can load whatever image you want. Just grab mine, which is on GitHub, or go find your one for your project. And I've one here, which is IC default user, which is this one. And let's place a margin bottom of 20 SP as always. Okay, so the XML, it's done. Now when the user clicks this image, it should be taken to the gallery in order to choose an image, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's go inside here and let's create a variable for the image view. So image view and profile image, and inside here let's create up top alongside the name and phone fields. Let's copy that and change this to image view. So profile image, and now we are going to set a on-click listener, and we can do this, which is the most logical one, up on top of confirm image view, obviously. So let's say set on-click listener, new on-click listener, and now in order to call the gallery we use an intent. Okay, an intent serves exactly that. You can call a number of services within the phone. So intent, and you'll understand just that in a second. New intent, and we have to, for now we are going to choose an action, which is what the user has to do with this intent, what the user has to do when he gets outside our app. So intent dot action, and as you may guess, he must pick a picture. So in order to pick a picture, you say action pick, as simple as that. Now set intent, and we are going to set the type of the file that the user must choose. Set type, because the user can just choose whatever he wants, whether it is video or text. He must choose an image, and to say that we just say image slash and this shy asterisk. I don't know what you call that, but okay, check it yourself and find it in your keyboard what this symbol is. Okay, so now we are going to start an activity, but we are going to start an activity for a result, because we don't just want the gallery to show up and that's it. We want something from it, and because of that we are going to say activity for result, and we'll say intent, and now we must give a number. It can be any number, let's say 1, just keep it simple, and it can be a completely random number, but it is a number from which because we are going to use a function called on results, how is it called, on activity result, which is called whenever any intent like this is finished. Okay, so it is called, and the end result is either positive or negative, it doesn't matter. But because we can call a bunch of intents, this is the number which is going to set them apart. So for this camera, for the gallery image pick, we'll have the number 1. But imagine you want to open the camera and take a picture. Then you create an intent and you give it the number 2. And you gotta make sure that you keep track of the numbers, because then on activity result you'll try to find which intent is that result from, and when we write the code it will become a little more simple. So let's go ahead and create that function which is called on activity result. So let's say it in here. No, let's put him below, on the end. So on activity results, here it is. Don't change anything, just add if request code. and this request code is this number here. So we say if request code is equal to 1, which is what we want at the moment, equal to 1, and the result came out fine, and we know that by saying activity dot results okay, then we get the final URI from that image that was chosen, and this URI will have the location, the exact location of the image that the user chose. So just say data.get data, and take my word from it, this data is passed inside from here, and we get data to get the image URI. Well, that's a real twist, tongue twister. So now we must save this image URI, and we are doing that by, we first must create a variable, okay, and let's call it result URI, and let's just pass the image URI to the results. So result URI, image URI, and now we are going to set the image view to the image that we got from this activity result. This isn't saving it to the database, to the storage. Keep that in mind. It is just changing the image view. Okay. So if the user backs up after this is done, the image won't be saved, and the image, the profile image, won't be messed with. So you can just say, we can use a function that Android Studio provides, which is set image URI, and just say result URI. Okay, so we have the results, we have the URI of the image. Now all we have to do is, when the user clicks confirm, then we gotta save that user information. And this is the most complicated part of it all. So let's just say if result URI is different from null, so if the user has chosen an image during his time in this activity, then we'll create, oops, it isn't these brackets, it's those brackets, okay. We'll create a storage reference, and this works the same as the database reference, but for the storage. So we'll have a storage reference, and let's say call it file path, and it will be storage.child. It works, as I said, just the same as the database reference. Let me just check one thing. Okay. Whoops. I think I'm forgetting something. Okay. Firebase storage dot get instance dot get reference. This should be known to you because it is just as the database storage. And now we'll choose a child, and that child is where we are going to store every profile image. So profile images dot child user ID. So we'll be storing the image of the user that's currently saving the user info inside the child profile image, and this child isn't a child in here, it is a child that's inside here in the storage, and it will show up in a second after we run the app, so you'll see it better by then. So it will be stored under user ID. Then you'll create a bitmap equal to null, and we'll be transforming the URI that we have into something that's more palpable. It is an image, because an URI doesn't tell anything of interest at least. And let's say that the bitmap is equal to media store dot images dot media dot get bitmap, and let's import that. Get bitmap get application dot get content resolver comma result URI, and we must add an exception we must surround with try and catch. It isn't capital B, it is small b, because it is this variable. So this is a long code, and it is you don't have to understand it, you just have to know what it does. And all it does is pass this result URI that we got from the onActivity result, which is just a string, a path to something on the phone, into a bitmap. Or better yet, it gets the image from the result URI location. So now we must write code that is always the same. So you'll be compressing this image, because otherwise it will become you will use up the Firebase storage real easy, and after that you must pay to Google in order to get more. So it is always good to compress the image a bit, because we are dealing with relatively small images, and you won't lose almost no quality at all. So it is always a good thing to do. And we are going to compress it to bitmap dot compress formats, and it will be JPEG, and this will create a JPEG comma 20 dot BAUS. It isn't BOAS, it is BAUS. Oops, in here it isn't input stream, it is output. So bytes array, I made a mistake here, I'm sorry. Let's make sure you change that. Output bytes array output stream. Okay. So this 20 is the factor by which you compress the image. So with 20 it is quite a small compression, so it is a good balance in my mind. Now let's create a variable of the type data, and we'll move this image into an array. This is the way that you store images to the Firebase storage array. And now we create an upload task, and this upload task will try to upload the image into the database, to the storage. I'm sorry. So file path, and it will try to upload it to this storage reference that we created here, and we put bytes data. Okay, that's everything. Now you can add listeners to know if the upload was successful or not. If it was successful, then we must put the image URL inside here. So that's what we'll be trying to do. So upload task dot add on complete listener, on success listener, I'm sorry. it is. This one, on success listener. So new on success listener, and it will create it for you. And now we can get the download URL. So URI download URL equals to task snapshot dot, and they have this all prepared for you because they know that you will be wanting to get it. Get download URL. That's everything you gotta do. So now you'll be saving it and just say map new post, new image equals to new hash map and new image dot put profile image URL download URL dot to string, and just save it to the customer database that we created in the previous lesson. So update children, new image, and after that we can finish and return. Now we must put an else because of this finish, because otherwise it won't have time to complete all this. So if there isn't an image after this code is completed, it can finish. If not, then it can only finish after this. And we must also put an upload task dot add on failure listener, new on failure listener, and we are going to again put finish. The semicolon at the end. And now the upload is done, but when the user gets to this activity, we want to show him the image that's already there. So to do that, we go into get user info, and we can do this. And this, as you may remember from our previous lesson, it gets this information, and when the user has a profile image, then it will have another child with the profile image URL. So we must get that and place it inside the image view. So let's just copy and paste that. Let's create another string for the profile image URL. And I'm creating these strings because you might want to do some verifications before saving. I'm not doing any, and that's not really smart, but because I'm only trying to show you how to do it, it doesn't really matter. So profile image URL, this will be the name, better yet, this is the name that's inside here. Actually, let's just copy and paste it inside, just make sure it is the same, because if it isn't, then bad things can happen. So okay, let's paste that inside there. Profile image URL. Let's change the profile URL now. Profile image URL. Okay. Okay, it is done. And now, this is the first time that we are going to use Glide, and I'm going to show you how to use it. Glide, as you remember, is the caching image service, that library that we are going to use in this application. So you say glide.with get application, and this is always the same, just copy and paste it, no need to be explaining. It is you have more details in the Glide library, so you can check it out if it is something that you are interested in. I'll be linking it down below for sure. So now we say the profile image URL. This is the URL that we want to pass into the image view. and we say into and profile image, and that's done. There's no need to do anything else. The coding is completed. So yeah, let's just launch the application and see if everything checks out. Okay, so it is finished loading, so we can go right ahead into settings menu, and as you can see we have it there, and I'm just going to grab the Firebase database for you to check it working. So let's click the image view, and you have the option to go into photos or gallery. So let's say photos, doesn't really matter, and I've downloaded an image for us to use here, and it is okay. It puts the image inside the image view, and it did it in here, okay, as you remember. And now let's say confirm, and when we click confirm, a child must be created here that's called profile image URL. Let's do it, and okay, it is done. So let's go into storage just to check if the image is there. Click profile images, the user ID, and here it is. Okay, it is working just fine. Now let's check if it is getting the URL and placing it into the image view when we click settings, and it is. Okay, so everything is working just fine. Thank you all very much for watching. In the next lesson we'll be in, I'm not quite sure yet, but I believe we'll be learning how we can show the driver our image and our name and so on and so forth, which we already have the code for it, so it shouldn't be too hard. It's just finding a good way to show it to the driver. So thank you all very much for watching. Please do like, subscribe if these are being helpful to you. Donate if you can. I have my Patreon linked below. I have my full setup linked below. And please follow me on Twitter. That's all the preaching that I'm doing for today. And okay, so see you tomorrow. Ciao.